This is DD India and you're watching Express News, a program where we bring for you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's begin. Several Umrah pilgrims from India are feared dead after a bus travelling from Makkah to Medina collided with a diesel tanker in Saudi Arabia early Monday. President Draupadi Murmu expressed condolences to the families of people who lost their lives in the bus accident in Medina. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed grief over the accident in Medina involving Indian nationals. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar extended full support to Indian nationals and families affected by this accident. In the Delhi terror blast case, National Investigation Agency was granted a 10-day custody of the Delhi blast suicide bomber's aide, Amir Rashid Ali, by the Patiala House Court in New Delhi. The NIA has arrested another key associate of the terrorist involved in the Delhi car blast named Jasir Bilal Wani, a Kashmiri resident. Jasir has been arrested from Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir and allegedly provided technical support for carrying out the terror attacks. President Draupadi Murmu met the members of the 16th Finance Commission led by Chairman Dr. Arvind Pangadia. The Commission submitted their report outlining key financial recommendations for the period of 2026 to 2031. At a session in New Delhi, India's electronics push got momentum with the second electronics component manufacturing scheme tranche worth 7,100 crore rupees provided. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav and MOS Jitin Prasad unveiled the roadmap this is the roadmap of India's electronics future. Minister Ashwini Vaishnav hailed the scheme's role in boosting high-value component manufacturing, strengthening supply chains and positioning India as a trusted global hub in the journey towards becoming a true product nation. New Zealand's Minister for Trade and Investment Todd McLay arrived in Mumbai for a series of high-level bilateral engagements with Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal. McLay was the chief guest at the inauguration of a cricket tournament in Mumbai. Speaking at the event, Minister Piyush Goyal said that both Wellington and Delhi are working to create a framework in investment, sports and tourism. Speaking to a newspaper on the sidelines of the CII Partnership Summit, Minister Piyush Goyal said that his ministry is working closely with the Seafood Exporters Association of India to identify more export markets, evaluate trade impediments and find solutions. Addressing the Confederation of Indian Industry Financing Summit in Mumbai, India's Chief Economic Advisor Venkatraman Anantha Nageshwaran expressed concern that initial public offerings are increasingly being used as exit routes for early-stage investors, a trend he said dilutes the very ethos of public markets. Home Minister Amit Shah attended and chaired the Northern Zonal Council meeting in Faridabad. Senior officials from the centre, state governments and union territories were also in attendance. Chief of Army Staff of the Indian Army, General Upendra Dwivedi, attended the Chanakya Defence Dialogue in New Delhi. Speaking at the event, General Dwivedi talked about Operation Sindoor and India's new stance on terrorism. India's Press Information Bureau has confirmed that a video of General Upendra Dwivedi circulating online is AI generated and fake that falsely claims that 50% of non-caste Hindu soldiers will be removed from the Indian Army by 2028 on government orders. The Indian Air Force is participating in the 8th edition of the bilateral air exercise Garud 25 in France from 16th to 27th of November. The Indian Navy unveiled the Crest of Mahe, the first ship of the indigenously designed and built Mahe-class anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft ahead of its upcoming commissioning in Mumbai on 24th of November. Vice President of India C.P. Radhakrishnan graced the inaugural Ramoji Excellence Awards 2025 in Hyderabad, Telangana as the chief guest. Speaking at the event, the Vice President called on media organizations to play a key role in nation building and help India become developed by 2047. On to business news now. Indian benchmark indices ended on a positive note with Nifty around 26,000 on Monday. Nifty 50 rose marginally, ending at 26,013 points on Monday. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange added 388 points to close at 84,951. At the Forex market, the Indian rupee appreciated 11 paise at 88 rupees 63 paise against the US dollar on Monday. Gold futures maturing on the 5th of December were priced at 123,353 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for 5th December maturity stood at 156,098 rupees per kilo on the MCX. India's Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri announced that Indian public sector oil companies have for the first time signed a one-year deal to import LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, from the United States of America. India's merchandise trade deficit surged to a record $41.68 billion in October, exceeding forecasts of $28.8 billion. The deficit widened from $32.15 billion in September, driven by rising gold and silver imports. In the global energy market, Brent crude fell to $63.9 per barrel on Monday. Japan's economy shrank 1.8% in the July to September quarter from the previous year, its first fall in 6 quarters, as US tariffs hit exports, following a revised 2.3% expansion in the previous quarter. Japanese tourism and retail stocks fell sharply after China issued a travel warning in response to Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's remarks on Taiwan. Bangladesh's International Crimes Tribunal on Monday sentenced former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to death for crimes against humanity. Sheikh Hasina denounced the verdict and death sentence handed over to her in a crimes against humanity trial, calling the ruling biased and politically motivated. India's Ministry of External Affairs, in a statement on Bangladesh verdict, said that India has noted the verdict and remains committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh, including in peace, democracy, inclusion and stability in that country. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has signed a deal with France to acquire 100 Rafale fighter jets aimed at strengthening Ukraine's long-term military capacity against Russia's invasion. Zelensky arrived in France on Monday, where he, along with French President Emmanuel Macron, signed a letter of intent for Kiev to acquire up to 100 Rafale fighter jets and other air defense hardware from French companies. A Russian missile strike on Ukrainian Balaklia killed 3 people on Monday. The overnight attack damaged multi-story residence blocks and destroyed scores of cars in the city center. Russian air defense forces destroyed 36 Ukrainian drones over 7 regions overnight on Monday. Moscow claimed that the Ukrainian strike was directed at energy infrastructure. It left roughly 500,000 people without power across several districts, and restoration work was underway. Senior Japanese diplomat Masaki Kanai arrived in Beijing on Monday to clarify that Prime Minister Takaichi's comments do not mark a shift in Japan's security policy and to urge China to avoid actions that could further strain ties. Earlier this month, Takaichi told lawmakers that a Chinese attack on Taiwan threatening Japan's survival could trigger a military response. China's Vice Premier on Monday said that he hoped Germany would use its influence within the European Union to improve ties between the world's second economy and the 27-strong bloc. Germany's Finance Minister Lars Klingbeil became the first representative of the new coalition government to visit China. South Korea's Defense Ministry said that it has proposed talks with the North military to discuss setting a clearer boundary along the military demarcation line between the two Koreas to avoid the risk of potential military clashes. Britain's Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood on Monday announced that it had plans to fast-track the deportation of illegal migrants. UK will overhaul its approach to human rights laws to make it easier to deport migrants who arrive illegally. The UN Security Council is due to vote on Monday on a resolution endorsing US President Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan. US President Donald Trump has hinted at holding discussions with Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, who has been in the crosshairs of a US military buildup in the Caribbean. Pentagon announced another attack on an alleged drug trafficking vessel in the Eastern Pacific. The US Southern Command has described the vessel as being operated by a designated terrorist organization and was transporting narcotics along a well-known trafficking route in international waters. Donald Trump on Sunday urged his fellow Republicans in Congress to vote for the release of files related to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, reversing his earlier resistance to such a move. Trump late on Friday withdrew his support for Marjorie Taylor Greene, a US House of Representatives member from Georgia, following her criticism of Republicans on certain issues, including the handling of the Epstein files. Chile's presidential election will go to a runoff vote in December between a Communist Party and a far-right candidate after the first round on Sunday produced no outright winner. Chilean President Gabriel Boric congratulated both Jeanette Jara and José Antonio Cast after the two candidates advanced to the runoff. India's Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupender Yadav, is in Belém, Brazil, to participate in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, COP30. Schools in Australia and New Zealand were shut across as asbestos, a naturally occurring toxic mineral, was found in children's play sand products. We're heading for a short break here on Express News. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned to DD India.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's resume. Storm Claudia has killed 3 people in Portugal and injured 28 others, including 2 seriously. Authorities have placed southern districts on high alert as severe winds and rain continue to impact the region. The storm also struck Wales, triggering major flooding in Monmouth. An overflowing river damaged homes, business and transport links and power systems. UK residents cleared up after Storm Claudia flooded towns in Wales and England, damaging homes and shops ahead of Christmas. A major landslide hit Vietnam's Can Le Pass in Can Hoa, killing 6 people and injuring 19. Rescue teams are still searching for the remaining victims under the debris. 19 injured passengers have been admitted to Can Hoa General Hospital and are now stable. The pass remains closed due to dangerous conditions. Heavy rain triggered flooding and landslides along the Vietnam's Ho Chi Minh Highway. Authorities have cordoned off dangerous zones and stopped all vehicular movement. Mountain runoff created strong currents with water rising over 0.5 meters in several sections. Barricades and warning signs have been set up and teams are managing traffic to prevent accidents. Smoke erupted from Japan's Sakurajima volcano after 3 early morning eruptions on Sunday. The Japanese Meteorological Agency confirmed heightened activity near Kagoshima on Kyushu Island. Severe storms in Italy's Friuli Venezia caused flooding and landslides, damaging a home and leaving 2 people missing. Rescue teams from multiple regions joined efforts. India Meteorological Department issued an alert for heavy rain and thunderstorms this week across the southeastern and southwestern coastal regions, with some areas likely to receive heavy rainfall between November 17th and 23rd. The 2-month-long Sabrimala pilgrimage officially began on Monday, the first day of the Malayalam month of Vrishchikam. The Sabrimala Ayyappa temple is set to draw devotees from around the world. India paid homage to Lala Lajpat Rai Punjab Kesari on his death anniversary on Monday. A prominent freedom fighter, social reformer, writer, his legacy remains a vital chapter of the country's independence movement. The Rural Development Ministry's Saras Ajivika Mela at Bharat Mandapam highlights the government's push to empower rural women, providing free stalls, subsidized logistics, loans and digital marketplace access to help self-help groups to become entrepreneurs. Shillong in Meghalaya hosted its 5th Cherry Blossom Festival at Ward Lake, where pink blooms transformed the landscape. The event blends local tradition with global flair. Lucknow hosted a vintage car rally as part of Traffic Awareness Month. The event connected youth with transport history and encouraged citizens to value and preserve automotive heritage. Srinagar hosted a 2-day lifestyle exhibition, Nayab, aimed at boosting young Kashmiri entrepreneurs. The event also carried a strong social message with its theme, Say No to Drugs. Madhya Pradesh Pavilion is shining at the India International Trade Fair 2025, showcasing replicas of its iconic places. The MP Pavilion highlights the state's industrial growth and local products at Bharat Mandapam Trade Fair. Christmas illuminations lit up Paris' iconic Champs-Élysées. Trees along the world-famous avenue glowed with waves of color-changing lights. Pope Leo XIV met Hollywood actors and filmmakers at the Vatican during a Holy Year event, urging them to preserve cinema in an age of global uncertainty and digital overload. French farmers in Albertville claim to have cooked at the world's largest tartiflette, weighing over 2 tons during a record-setting attempt in France. Vietnam's second Kamu Crab Festival opened on Sunday. The event is running till November 22nd. It features 270 plus booths showcasing startups, local cuisine and ecological crab farming tours. Vietnamese schools have begun bringing in artists, artisans and athletes to teach under a new policy by the Ministry of Education and Training. The move is showing early positive results. One of the world's rare sweet gum forests is located in Burdur, Turkey. Declared a nature reserve in 1987, the forest sits along the Aksu River and is known for its vibrant autumn colors and a 200-year-old sweet gum tree. Tourists from Japan and abroad are flocking to Fujikawa Guchiko to enjoy the peak autumn colors at the foot of Mount Fuji. Lakeside paths and clear mountain views are drawing large crowds, capturing the iconic scenery in its full fall glory. In the latest from the entertainment industry, Indian classic film Sholay is set to return to theatres on 12th of December in a restored 4K version titled Sholay: The Final Cut, releasing across 1,500 screens with its original uncensored climax shown for the first time in 50 years. Bollywood star Ajay Devgan's De De Pyar De Second, which released in theatres on Friday, earned 23.22 crore rupees in 2 days. Bollywood actors Pulkit Samrat and Varun Sharma are back together in Rahu Ketu, a folklore-inspired comedy with its release date set for 16th January next year. For completing 50 years in Indian cinema, superstar Rajnikant and Nandamuri Balakrishna will be honoured at the International Film Festival of India. Waves Film Bazaar has shortlisted 22 feature films and 5 documentaries for global financing ahead of IFFI 2025. The event will run in Goa from the 20th to 24th of November, where filmmakers will pitch their projects to international producers and festival curators. National award-winning actor Kirti Suresh, known for her work in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam and Hindi films, has been appointed as the new celebrity advocate for UNICEF India. Hollywood star Brad Pitt starred F1 is now set to stream on an OTT platform from 12th of December. Taylor Sheridan's series Landman Season 2 premiered on Sunday, bringing back Billy Bob Thornton in the gritty West Texas oil drama. Grammy-winning artist Jon Batiste will make his India debut with concerts in New Delhi on November 24th and in Mumbai on 26th of November. Hollywood stars Tom Cruise, singer Dolly Parton, Debbie Allen and Vin Thomas received honorary Oscars at Governors Awards 2025, recognizing their lifetime achievement in film and entertainment. And on to sports news now. East Bengal FC defeated Bam Khatoon FC 3-1 in their AFC Women's Champions League opener in Wuhan. They next face hosts Wuhan Jiangda on November 20th. The 34th Himalayan 100-mile stage race ended in Darjeeling with Germany's Anton winning overall and UK's Janet Payne topping the women's category. Cycling Federation of India and Vedanta launched the Tour de Thar, India's first desert endurance cycling race on November 23rd in Bikaner. Over 2,500 riders will compete across 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers and 300 kilometers formats. Olympian Gurpreet Singh clinched silver in the men's 25-meter pistol at the ISSF World Championships in Cairo, his second career world's medal. India closed the event third overall with 13 medals behind China and Korea. Indian archer Kushal Dalal won the GT Open Indoor World Series title in the men's compound category in Strassen, Luxembourg. India's chess prodigy Arjun Ergyasi faces a crucial World Cup quarter-final against China's Wei Yo on Monday. India's Olympic silver medalist weightlifter Mirabai Chanu on Sunday said she is ready to adapt and determined to bring home another Olympic medal for India. In badminton, India's top-seeded men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty will eye its first title of the season when the Australian Open Super 500 kicks off on Tuesday. India's singles hopes will rest on Lakshya Sen and HS Pranoy at the Australian Open. Both players aim to regain consistency after injuries and mixed results this season. In soccer, Norway qualified for the 2026 World Cup after a 4-1 win away to Italy in their final group match, condemning the hosts who have missed out on the last 2 editions of the tournament. Generational goal-getter Erling Haaland, who is the top scorer in 2026 World Cup qualifier, will get a crack at his first major tournament next summer after leading Norway to the World Cup. Portugal clinched their 9th World Cup berth by dominating Armenia 9-1 in Porto on Sunday, completing a perfect Group F qualifying campaign under coach Roberto Martinez. England captain Harry Kane poached a late double as his side completed a record-setting FIFA World Cup qualification campaign with a hard-earned 2-0 victory away to Albania in Group K on Sunday. MotoGP champ Marc Marquez took the stage to celebrate his remarkable 2025 title at the season-ending awards show after the Valencia Grand Prix in Spain. And Australian Paralympic gold medal winning cyclist Paige Greco, one of the brightest talents in Paralympic sports, died aged 28 after a sudden medical episode. That's it in this edition of Express News. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.